Hello, welcome today. I want to talk about talking to spirit, talking to our guides, and how important that is. Every one of us has a set of guides, spiritual beings who are with us. They come from the Garden of Remembrance, so before we were born, they were chosen, and we sat with them in the Garden of Remembrance, and they decided to come down and to help us. Sometimes we'll get new guides. For example, if we've started painting, we'll get the painting guide. Like when I'm writing the books, I knew that I had new guides. And occasionally I'd noticed that when I was doing the healing, my hands worked differently. So obviously there was someone new who'd come in. However, we do have our mainstay guides, and then we have the little extras who come in as well. This is something I really want you to understand, that your guides are always there. Whether you're there with them, it's not important, because they're actually always there with you, watching it all unfold and ready to help you. Many people are unaware that they have spiritual guidance, and even if you speak to them about it, they just say it's all rubbish. There's nothing much you can say to people, because you can't actually, make a guide manifest in front of them so they can show them. And even if you tell them that your guide looks like this, they just think you made it all up. However, we all have our own set of guides. We'll have the gatekeeper, that's the one who's with us the whole life and is there to help and protect us. And then we have the different guides who come in as well. The guides are sort of separate from our belief in God. For some of us, there is a connection. Like for me, I feel that I've got angels with me, because that's actually part of my spiritual development, and that's where I sit. That's my realm. You might not feel like that. You might actually even believe in God, perhaps, in the way convention believes in God, but you might still have your guides. Whether you are a believer or not makes no difference. They're standing there. They're with us. They're walking around with us. They're there to help us. And that's the most important thing about today's podcast, is they're here to help us. You can ask your guides to help you. You can ask them to help you with your life in every area, with your personal relationships, with your health, with your friendships, your love relationship. Help me with work, help me with money. You can ask your guides for help. The reason you need to ask is because there's a kind of a spiritual kind of law with, unless we ask, or they know that we're praying in a sense and asking for help. Maybe we're not doing it as directly as, please guide, help me, can my guides please help me, but we might be going, oh God, can you please help me, or we're going, oh God, I really need some help with this, I wish I could get some help with this. They will hear that, but the more direct you are, the more clarity they have and the more they can do. So if you're having trouble, start asking them. You can ask them all the time, and you make your connection with them stronger and stronger. I've done other podcasts on this, but this one's particularly about being more aware that they're with us, and the vibration, particularly coming into this year and the next 2 years, is going to zoom up spiritually. Our third eye will open more for many of us, and I think we're going into the fifth, sixth, seventh vibration. Some of us have already moved in there, and a lot of people will just come because the wave will come and they'll sort of come with us. Some of them won't want to come, and they will actually pass. Some people actually are going to go because they don't want to be in the next vibration, because they're going to press too many buttons, so they'll just check out. And we'll see that happening in, I think, masses of people checking out, lots of people going in groups. They look like they're not connected, but they will be connected by the fact that they've all decided to check out. The ones who decided to stay, because we've got work to do here, the vibration will go up in that vibration, and it will be easy for us, and we'll be happy to go up in that vibration, because it's quite dense down here, and I don't know if you feel it, but it feels kind of heavy and dense and a bit boggy sometimes. You go into the high vibration, you'll actually feel better, because your body will feel lighter, and you'll feel lighter, and your energy will be lighter. When you ask your guides for help, you're asking them, you're not demanding. So never do it in that way, that if you don't do this and do your little human rubbish that we do, you're to ask, can you help me with this? And I always ask, can you sign to me? Can you give me a sign that, you've heard it, or I'm going the right way, or I'm being guided the right way? And I usually get some kind of sign. It could be some random person in the shop who just says something to me, or I'm watching Netflix and there's something in the program and they're letting me know they've heard it. If we're really lucky, we actually get the manifestation. My friend recently needed to move house, and he really needed to get out of his environment because it was quite negative there. And he asked that could a place please come up, please, please, please. And I and his friends, so I went and prayed and asked, for this to happen. Within 24 hours, the new place popped up, and within 3 days, he was moved. They can actually do things very quickly sometimes, and you will see that, and then you just remember to say thank you. And I think to show respect and gratitude to your guides goes well for your relationship. The relationship you have with your guides is not dissimilar to here. It's not a human relationship, it's a soul relationship. But we can use all those same loving, kind ways that we speak to our guides. And I've heard people speak so badly about their guides, and I'm thinking, I don't think this is a very good idea. You're expecting these people to do things for you. Well, they're not really people, I suppose, but these souls to do things for you, and now you're going to berate them and complain about them. Some things are not doable. They can't do it. It's not within the realm or the scope of what they can do. Sometimes it's our lesson, so we haven't learnt the lesson. Sometimes it's our karma. So we've come down to experience of life of sad poverty and not much wealth. They will only be able to bring you so far up out of poverty, because your lesson is to learn what it is to be without money and not to have as much. Because possibly in another life you were very rich and you squandered all the money and you didn't appreciate it, so you decided you need to learn to appreciate what you have, and so you've chosen this life. Or maybe you just want to know what that life feels like. It's the same as if you're in a wheelchair. Because of ill health, they will not perhaps be able to get you out the wheelchair, because you actually, on a soul level, wanted to experience this to grow as a soul. So you need to understand that even though they're guides, they can't play magic tricks, and they will not be able to play with what your lesson is, what your karma is. And the other thing is they can't always play with divine timing. If you are supposed to meet someone from work in 3 years' time because you're going to start doing a new business, it doesn't matter how much you nag them about change of work. It can't happen until you meet that person in 3 years, because there's been signposts, like divinely signposts, and that'll happen in relationships too. You can have it that you know and have been told, particularly by a good psychic reader, that this person's coming up at that, and they look like this and they look like that, and I've got all the information, but I've been waiting for years now, the person hasn't come yet, because it's not the right time. The timing's not quite right. Now, sometimes it'll be your timing's not right, you've got things to do, or sometimes you're just waiting at the bus stop and they haven't even got on the bus because their timing is different and they can't make it in time. It's not always about you, sometimes it's about the other person. I think it's really good to keep talking to your guides. It will keep your connection with them very strong. It's like they're your invisible friends, I suppose, that you take everywhere with you. And I speak to them all the time, and sometimes I have a little whinge to them as well when things are going tough, and ask them to help me because this is too hard. And then something will happen, like especially one of my friends, Drew, I'll just get this phone call and it'll be Drew, and I know that they just popped my name in his head and he rang me up. So there is support around you, but they can't change some aspects of your life, and you need to be very mindful of that. When you get a new guide in for the work that you're perhaps going to do next, or to give some kind of support, they'll come in sometimes only for a while, and then another one will come in and you will know that. But that is quite different to your little main group. In addition, some people have a lot of guides. They can have 7 or 8. Other people maybe have 3, maybe 4. It all depends on what your life path is. I actually really feel sorry for the guides, because I see people, and sometimes when I've been doing the reading, I can almost see the guides are going to pull their hair out because they're just going nuts, like, because this person's not listening, and they're all going the wrong way, and we've tried to guide them and they're not going to do it. And I think it's quite hard to observe someone running towards the cliff when you've told them don't run towards the cliff. However, that's going to be a lesson not learnt, and then the lesson will come on like on a roundabout, and then the lesson will be presented in another way, and you get another chance at the lesson. There's always different lessons that we've set up, so if we don't get it this time, we'll get another run at it. Unfortunately for some people, they will get to the end of their bunch of lessons, and if they haven't learned it, well, then they'll have to have the karma, or sometimes they actually exit when there's no more purpose to be down here. If they don't want to learn anymore, they actually exit. But you understand, sometimes people exit also through mental illness and or sometimes with dementia. I'm not saying all dementia people are exiting, but there are a fraction of people who get dementia, particularly when they get it younger, and it's just a part of them has left, because they don't want to do it, so they'll partly leave and then eventually they'll leave. You'll better see that around you. Talk to your guides. Be good to your guides. Ask them to help you. Just keep asking. And ask them, if they can't make certain things happen, to explain it to you so that you know on some soul level why it's not happening, that you get an inkling. And ask them for pictures. Always ask them for pictures in my head. Give me a picture, or give me a song, or give me the words. And you'll often find with your guides, they won't be words that you normally use. That's a really good sign for you. So tell them to give you a word that isn't a word in your vocab, and then you'll know it's them, not you. Because sometimes we can think it's us making it up. And ask them to sign all around you. So look for the signs, talk to them. You're lucky to have them. And mostly you're really lucky because you know they're there. Because lots of people don't realise they're there, and then they don't access them. And so I think in that way we're pretty lucky, aren't we? Because we know they're there, and we know they're around us, and we feel their energy. And they can also help us to help other people. I've sent my guides off and asked them to go and help this one or that one, and I know it's being done. So they can also be helpers to us. And I ask my guides sometimes, and my angels, to go with someone to protect them. So they go off with the person to the operation, or maybe on a trip, and give them safety and protection. And you can ask your guides to give you protection as well. Enjoy your spiritual life and enjoy your guides, and I hope that you can get closer and closer to them. And I really hope for you that you can see them. My old friend Dol, she actually saw them like walking in the room and stuff. I just thought it was so cool. I don't do that, but maybe you will. And if you're lucky enough to find a person who sees the spirit guides and can draw or paint them for you, that would even be pretty wonderful as well. Okay, so I'm hoping you have a nice week with your guides. Sending you lots of love and lots of healing.